Morning, Gary. I decided to do another morning edition of this before I go to work, so I'm not drinking anything this morning. Um, this is actually kind of the last times I'll be able to do this. Starting this week, my work schedule is going to be 5 a.m. to 3 p.m., which is still a 10-hour shift, but at least I get out early in the afternoon, so that'll kind of be nice. I'm doing the recording from inside the nursery. We've got a different cat, the stupid one, here today, where you can see her tail. She's ridiculous, but I wanted to kind of show off a couple of weird things I'm doing to make my daughter geeky. But before that, let me thank you for bringing me back to when I took the LSAT and the 5 hours of logic puzzles I had to pay money to do. That was lots of fun thinking about that stuff again. But yeah, so I've done this kind of stuff before. I know you just convert it into math problems without words, and then it's a lot easier. So the ball is a nickel, the bat is $1 and a nickel. The second one was it's still 5 minutes because the machines don't work any differently. They just make one widget a minute. And the lake would be 47 days. Half-life thing doesn't accelerate over time. It's still half every day. So there you go. I've been around this boat before. Anyway, some of the weird things you'll notice over behind my shoulder, those are actually pillowcases that have hipster cats on them. My favorite is the one in the middle that has a cat with glasses and a pipe, because that's the most hipster you can get. I've also got R2-D2 plush toy. It doesn't make any noises, which would have made this even more worth the money than it already is. My favorite satire children's book, All of My Friends Are Dead. You can look up a lot of the pages on the internet. It's a pretty fantastic book. All of my friends are obsolete, says the cassette tape. All of my friends are puddles. But yeah, it's a good one for sure. There's actually a sequel as well, and there's a whole host of books that are not actually kids' books, but marketed like kids' books, and they're pretty hilarious and funny. And this one's just like on the line enough that you can give it to a kid, and it's not gonna be the worst thing that they'll ever see in their lives, except maybe this page. I've already made 2 children cry today at 7:30 in the morning. That's pretty impressive. And one of the last things I wanted to show you that I love is, for a map, we just took an old Risk board and put it on there. It is a Mercator projection, apparently, because Greenland is still huge, so it's garbage. But it's a very old Risk board, you'll notice, because it includes a giant Ukraine, and it's just funny. All of the random, horribly disproportionate countries that exist on the old Risk boards. I'm surprised Czechoslovakia is not still on there. I think that board is from like the 70s or the 60s, so it's up there. But anyway, I watched some of the videos of that book you were talking about, just mostly the introduction one, and I've had worse. And I'll tell you what's worse. Okay. What's worse is the Christian books that do comparative religion. So they're like, hey, here's these other religions like Hinduism and Jainism and Sikhism and Buddhism, and let's talk about them, but interspaced with Bible passages proving them wrong, obviously, because, you know, the Bible is its own accurate source. I don't know, it was bad. Somebody tried to make me read one once, and I got about as far as, some people believe this, but it's false because Jesus said this, and I was like, oh, no, you can't do comparative religions that way. But people do, because people are terrible. So yeah, I've been down that road. I haven't read a lot of the apologetic stuff, but still my favorite book on the subject of the Bible and Christianity of all time is Misquoting Jesus, and it's all about how centuries of translation and hand transcribing of Bibles ruined it forever as far as being an accurate document of any sort. Um, like, my favorite example is there was a guy in probably like 800s or something that we have a manuscript for, and he was a scribe in his hometown, and he was practicing writing his name because that was literally his job, was just to sign stuff and say, I read this. And in like the second line, he makes a typo, and he like transposes a letter in his own name, and then he just keeps writing again and again his name incorrectly. Because, fuck it, who else is going to know, honestly? And he wasn't actually reading. He was just going line by line. And when you make a mistake, just randomly, the next line is, you're just going to keep that mistake because you're not really reading it even at that point. And, you know, that kind of stuff turns out it's all over the place. And I don't know why anyone could conceivably believe the Bible is literally true. And that's kind of a recent thing anyway, but it's weird. Yeah. So yeah, that's about all I got. I gotta keep it kind of short because I gotta head to work pretty soon. Oh, I also do have an accordion shaped like, I'm gonna say, like a hedgehog. I think that's a hedgehog. It's Sonic. It only plays one note though. So yeah, enjoy my nursery time here. You'll notice there's no child in the bed. She doesn't actually sleep in the bed we bought for her because, you know, kids these days. Alright, I'll talk to you later. I suppose I should ask you something to bring out our next topic. And I suppose we've been on a bent about talking about religion a little bit, so I would be curious to know if there were any schools of religion anywhere that you had any level of respect for whatsoever, or if they're all just garbage. Like, maybe, you know, the followers of Thor are like okay on one thing. I don't know. But obviously Christianity is problematic. But what about all the other world religions out there? Are they all just as dumb intrinsically, or is there some goodness somewhere in religion? I think is the question.